Hello. So this is my second video for about creating the school. I'm just going to do the same introduction. So my name's Alex Smith. This is my second year, going on third year at CUD. And I'd like to teach high school math or high school something. So I am currently, this is the video about making the school. And so I hope this is under 15 minutes. So let's just go down the list, shall we? So basics. Name of the school, to be honest, I don't thought of the name. I don't know what the name would be. And to be honest, out of everything on this list, I think the name is the least important. But yeah. For the school, I don't know yet if I would want the school to be K-12 or 9-12, but one of those two, either K-12 or 9-12, and then, or maybe 6-12, middle school through high school. I think that's better, 6-12. Anyway, so philosophy. So it's, I would lean between progressivism and social reconstructivism, as well as the fact that we're all aware that the education system, as we know it, is broken, is not right, and needs to be completely reconstructed. And so, in theory, that's what I'm trying to do. I'll be remaking it in a different manner, in a way that will prepare the students for their future as much as humanly possible. Which means that many things about this is going to be very different, or just different in general, than in most other schools. So, type of school. So I was just looking through the types of school assignment or class activity that we did. And so I was reading through them, thinking one of the few different schools I would choose for it is either traditional private schools, or a boarding school. The different reason I chose those two is so there is the way I want to construct the school would be very different than how the education system is currently. Because of that, I would not be able to, or would follow the current outlines that the government gives for public schools, or I would follow them differently. Either way, I know that not everyone would agree with how I would construct things and how I would, how I would format things, how I would structure things. And due to that, it would need to be a private school of some sort, which leaves it to either be a traditional private school or a boarding school. The reason why it could be a boarding school, and the reason I'm going in between those, is because I would also want to give the students something that I had that I wish I had more of. As you are aware, Mrs. Alaki, that I am a Boy Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout. I've done a lot of camping. And there are always the people around me that were there with me every step of the way while I was camping, while I was through that adventure. I'm not talking about my parents. I'm talking about the other scouts that were there, that were with me every step of the way. In one way or another, I consider them closer than family, closer than my friends. They're my brothers at the end of the day. And I know that is because I spent so much time with them. And I was there because I wanted to, and so were they. And so I would want to structure a boarding school in a way that only students that wanted to be there were there, and that way you could really get close to and become amazing friends or family with the people around you. So there's that. Now, that's a lot easier said than done, which is why I'm like, private school, boarding school. The only difference is whether or not they sleep there, so. Yeah. Okay, so. There's that. So, purpose of education in the school. I already talked about that a little bit, but I'll elaborate. So, I want to structure this school in a way that allows the staff to give the students the tools necessary to prepare them for their future. And in theory, that means we're not structuring things anything close to what things are now. We're making things new. We're rebuilding things from the ground up. Restructuring things from the ground up. And hopefully things are going to look very different. We're not focused about money. We're not focused on capitalism. We're not focused on making people mindless drones and making sure that they can just get their high school degree and move on. I would want the students to be able to learn about things that they are honestly interested in and be prepared for the future. And so the purpose of this is that, but since I know that the current education system is broken and it just isn't right, we would need to rebuild it from the ground up. We can't just audit what we have now. It's too broken. Okay, classroom assessment. How are students assessed both formatively and summatively? Do they participate in standardized assessments such as IAR? Why or why not? So, when it comes to classroom assessment, one thing I would do is, since it is a private school, there would not be as many students as there are in a public school, which would allow the staff to have more, well, I don't know exactly how much staff there would be, but it may allow the staff and the teachers to have more of a one-on-one with students, so that their classroom assessment is based on whatever they're being taught in said class. And they might even have another one-on-one with a counselor. Maybe with their parents, maybe without, I don't know yet. About like, okay, how's this semester going? What classes do you like? What do you don't like? What's going well? What's not? If it's a boarding school, it's okay. How are your roommates? Who are you living with? Do you like the living arrangements? Do you wish they were changed? What do you like? What do you don't like? Things like that. Because we're always looking for input. And if they say like, yeah, if we get enough students saying a certain thing, right, that they say, we wish we could pick our own bunkmates. We wish we could pick our own roommates. We wish we could pick our classes. In theory, they'll already be able to pick those, but I'm using simple things. If we can get them to communicatively agree on something or disagree on something, then we will change it. It's that simple. Because as much as I may like the school, as much as I may think that, okay, this is a good idea, I'm not the one actually experiencing it. And so I need to listen to the people that are, because if they give me their input, it's valuable input. So if enough students collectively say, hey, this should be changed, then that will be changed. So not only is the assessment for the students to make sure they're being taught correctly, to make sure they're learning what they need. It's also an assessment for us. And so again, there's a one-on-one with the teachers to make sure that the students learning what they need, and depending on the class, maybe there's an in-class test. Like if it's a math class, that's very easy, right? You just have a math test, or homework, or whatever it is. I don't really like the idea of tests, so maybe it is just an in-class something, in-class. I would stray away from natural tests. I would keep it as more of a long-term thing, because that way you get a better feel for how students are. It's not like a one and done, right? So you see how they're doing throughout the entire semester. And because of that, I would prefer as much of it to be in class and avoid homework. That way, the teachers get to see their progression. I do think that the point of the classes is for them to be learning in class, right? If they're learning outside class, then we're not teaching them anything. We're just giving them paper and a textbook and say, go learn. But at that point, they don't need to be paying to go to a private school. Okay, so there's that. Physical environment. So I would try and keep things as fresh as possible. Meaning, and I got to pick things up because it has already been 11 and a half minutes and I still have a few things to go through. So, physical environment. I would try and keep things open, lots of windows, lots of vents. I would try and have some outdoor areas, benches, paths, seating, things like that. And the classrooms, I would not want a stereotypical design where the teacher's up front, standing and teaching at a pedestal, and then the desks are lines. I'd want teachers to format it however they wanted, but they could not format it like that. They could have groups, they could have it in a U, they could have it lining the classroom, they could have it no desks at all, and it's bean bags, and they can sit wherever they want, they can sit on the floor, there's no desks, no seats at all, however they want, but they cannot have the desks just in a line. Maybe even no groups, no regular desk groups. So, there's that. Okay, how's the school governed and stakeholders? So since it's a private school, that means that there is a tuition, right? It's because of the students and the benefactors that the school is able to be run. And due to that, I not only urge students to talk to their teachers and professors and talk to me about what they like, what they don't like, what they would like to see changed, but I'd love for them to go home, or call or text, or tell their parents. Because not only is it important for us to know things, for us to be able to change things, it's important for the people paying for it to know. I feel like that's a stupid thing to have to say out loud, but I feel like I still have to say it out loud. So the most important thing is that students go home and tell their families. Or we have some way of communicating between school and benefactor. Okay, so I just went over funding, not governance structure. So what I would do is I would structure it in a way where there isn't the regular grade system. Instead of being like, oh, I'm in second grade now, and next year I'll be in third grade. It's, here's a list of things you need to complete. Here's a list of classes you need to complete. There's no grades. Not everyone's moving at the same rate. Some people will move faster, some people will move slower. But you gotta complete them. And there's going to be things on there that not everyone likes, because not everyone's going to like math, but everyone needs to learn at least a little bit of math. Not everyone is going to like English. Everyone needs to learn a little bit of English. So that's how I would format things. I went over funding. Okay, so school law and ethics.